Hello everyone, I'm Wet Blanket, and it's time to talk about one of my favorite white boys. No, not that one. Rob Cantor. Don't worry, I'm 100% going to make a video on Kojim Dip, but as you've probably been able to tell, I've been busy as fuck since the school year started. I'm working 2 jobs, doing 21 college credits, and I'm in a damn musical. This means that yes, I've been forced to do research on things that aren't the silly guys that live in my head. I know. That's borderline cruel and unusual. I want to wait until at least my school's fall break to start my video on Kojim, because I plan to do a lyrical analysis of the band's only album, on Spotify at least, and I want as much time as I need to give you guys a good project, and the band the hype it deserves. But I don't need to do intense research to talk about Bobby. I fucking love Rob, man. In fact, I love him so much that I spent an equivalent of 3 hours worth of work at my minimum wage barista job just to get a little 9-inch plush of the silly guy. But why do I love his music so much? It's just perfect, you know? It's like 80s rock if 80s rock was good. I love how each songwriter in Tally Hall has a different flavor. Andrew's is sweet and sincere, Zubin's is groovy and lyrically intelligent, and Joe's is Joe's. But there's something about Rob's songs that just scratch an itch in my brain, and I feel like he's criminally underrated despite writing a large chunk of the band's songs. Hell, before I was even sucked into this black hole of the fandom, I remember my first favorites were Never Meant to Know and Greener. In fact, I played Greener so much in my senior year of high school that my closest friends started associating the songs with me. His heterophonic tunes of How Love Bites are just timeless in my opinion. They're relatable no matter what stage of life you're in, and they're just so damn funky. I especially love his use of minor progressions and leading tone resolutions in his choruses. It just fits so damn well with that guitar. The thing about Rob's songs is that they don't need bells and whistles to be amazing. No megaphone, no special effects, just a man, his guitar, and his rotten luck with women. It's not overstimulating in the same way rock is, but it's got the same flavor. And no offense to anyone else, Joe, to listen to a good song that's not only about something real and genuine, also not a scavenger hunt that I have to go on to find the damn meaning.
What the fuck does service to the king mean? Do you just spin a wheel and put random words on the paper and hope that they make sense? Do you understand what this is doing to me?
This man's negative amounts of game just makes you want to dance. No, but seriously, I think Rob is bar none the most relatable Tally, at least to me. He's just a dude looking like the man with the yellow hat and going through shit. And then he makes a bunch of 3D heads of who would later become the fucking Just Do It guy. What's not to relate to? As an amateur lyrical analyst, there are 2 kinds of text and poetry that I can appreciate. Of course, I do actually love the things that I can sink my teeth into, but I also like the things I can just get, you know? I'm not saying that Rob's music isn't intelligent. No, that's not the case at all. In fact, I believe it takes a lot of both emotional intelligence and linguistic skill to write poetry that's concise without being overly explanatory or speech-like. That's something I believe Rob does perfectly. He says it in a way that there's just enough leeway for your mind to interpret it, that's a way that's relatable and useful to the listener. For example, instead of saying, "Hey, I had to tell my girlfriend that the relationship is getting stale," directly, or saying, "Mine eyes have been disenfranchised by the tedious nature of the moon tirelessly guiding the ocean's tides without regard for the passage of days," which is extremely frilly and indirect, he blends the 2 perfectly. Sitting in the park, I carefully remark, everything is better when you're learning. It's kind of like textual impressionism in a way. He's painting a scenario with broad brushstrokes and leading the brain to the most logical conclusion based on necessity. I didn't look up what this verse meant. I just assumed that it was about the beginning of a conversation about a stagnant relationship based on the idea of a circular design, which he mentions later in the song, and my own conclusions and experiences. Now, I'm a fucking nerd, so I don't know if this is actually what Rob is envisioning as he writes, but his mind just does this so naturally. As a lyricist myself, it's the blending of scenario and poetry that can make or break a poet, and it's a skill that some people go their whole lives and never achieve. I know that personally, when I write songs, I'll write something down, and I'll be like, no, that's too direct. I'm just telling the audience what I want them to think. And then I'll try to be more poetic about it, and it'll just make 0 sense. And so it's the kind of mixture of this and that makes a lyric what a lyric is. And I know that sounds crazy, and I know that sounds overcomplicated, but if you've ever tried to write a song, I feel like you know what I'm talking about. Overall, I love Rob. His songs are timeless, and I feel like I'm always going to love them. I'm the kind of person who puts a lot of value on realness, and I feel like the reason that Rob's songs kind of get overlooked sometimes is because people find them to be uncomplicated, but I don't think that could be further from the truth. It takes a good songwriter to be able to write about fantasy, but an amazing songwriter to write effective songs about real life that don't get too autobiographical. I feel like all of us can appreciate Rob's songs, because even if they are about his personal life, like, I make a lot of jokes about him having no game, but, like, honestly, we don't know whether or not these songs are about his real life. And that's why they're so good. Because a good song is a song that one can apply to their own life. Because I believe, anyway, that music is the avenue, or one of the avenues, of how we make sense of things, especially things like feelings and real-life circumstances. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling at this point. I love Rob Cantor, and I can't wait until fucking December when my U2's guy ships. Anyway, thanks for watching.